Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. Just acknowledging knowledge with no scholarships. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. Breaking everything down, tech to politics. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. We don't tell you what you want, we just give you what you need. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. News, brews, and views from these Chi-Town streets. Topic Thunder.
Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of the new permanent home for Topic Thunder Monday nights. A little Monday Thunder in your week to get you off right. Thanks for tuning in. First time or long time. You know the deal. That is Ben over there. This is Brooks, and Topic Thunder is just that. Welcome to the Topic Thunder Dome, where we're going to kick around a few ideas, come to a consensus or disagreement or two, have a laugh or two along the way, and maybe surprise, and we might learn something, which is the genesis and basis of the show.
I generally learn something every week, generally speaking.
I do too. I absolutely do. And as part of the show, where there's always the Army, the Topic Thunder Army, or we got to come up with something.
I think the Thunderdome, like they're the audience in the Thunderdome, right? Because the Thunderdome always had like people hanging on the dome, right? And they were
right.
The battle inside the dome. Our fans are very similar, and you get to see them right there on that side of the screen next to Brooks. All of the comments now Thunderheads, as GG puts it out there.
All right, Thunderheads.
Okay. Thunderheads. Ryan Hansen also says Thunderheads, like at the same time simultaneously. So maybe you guys are the Thunderheads. Those of you that join us every Monday night right here live on all of the streams, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube. We're on all of them.
Instagram, Topic Thunder Podcast. You can generally we're a lightning bolt, and then you see the crazy cool improperly cropped photo for the Thunderheads. I think that's the thing.
It seems to be the consensus going.
And not only are you the Thunderheads in this instance, but you're also the focus group. So thanks, cheers.
Indeed. Because of course, reminder while Brooks sips on his coffee there, or whatever it is. Things are moving. So if you are currently watching us off of the One Gimmick World stream, I would say you probably got 2 weeks left, if that, before everything moves from the One Gimmick World page to the Topic Thunder page on Facebook. Of course, you can still watch it through my page and Brooks's page if that's where you watch it normally. Of course, YouTube and Twitch won't be affected. This is just for those of you that do watch from the Topic Thunder page. Now, why you might want to do that is because if you follow a page and a page goes live like we do every Monday night, you get a nice little reminder, a notification on your phone. It alerts you on your phone if you have your notifications on that, hey, Topic Thunder is on. So if you forget and you're like, oh man, what time is it? Oh shit, Topic Thunder is on. I want to be part of the discussion. It will remind you there. So that is why you want to maybe follow the Topic Thunder page because you can get an alert every time we go live.
And the event, I had it in mind to do a little teaser on the Topic Thunder page regarding some stories, and I have to get better on that the show notes live here. I have to get a little bit better on that as far as planning and maybe doing some teasing and getting like, hey, maybe we're definitely going to do this. We're going to talk about that just as a midweek reminder or something. But sure, this is a learning process for everybody, is it not?
And of course, please share and let people know why it's fun and cool to hang out with us on a Monday night, or even if you can't join us live and you're listening to this post-mortem, as they say sometimes, please share and let people know what you enjoyed about the show and what you think is cool and unique so that people will also join us. We're trying to grow this thing.
Ultimately, I want a couple of things. I want stickers.
Mm-hmm.
I want a coffee mug, and
yes,
I would kill for a t-shirt.
Yes.
So let's getting that off of my chest. Let's get something down my gullet and have ourselves a drink to start the show. You might hear it in my voice a little bit. It's a little raspy. What we have here is just a good old-fashioned homemade hot toddy, courtesy of the lovely Gigi.
What even is a hot toddy? I've heard the name before, but I don't know what is in a hot toddy.
Oh, it's delightful. It's pretty simple, although guessing her, there's probably more than just the typical ingredients. But you would start with some tea,
okay,
whiskey, or whatever dark liquor you prefer, maybe brandy or I know there's definitely honey and some lemon juice in here too. But basically, however you like your tea, just
put some brown alcohol in it. Yeah,
just a little.
I love that. I love that idea. It's like just throwing some like Baileys in a hot chocolate. Like like hot chocolate. Do you like fucking mint? Here's some mint fucking liquor in your fucking hot chocolate. Enjoy.
Here's an adult hot chocolate.
Here's an adult hot chocolate.
Yes. I do some krupnik. Oh, krupnik is a honey Polish a Polish honey liqueur.
Okay.
It's that'll coat your throat like if you're sore like mine is right now. Like that, it'll get you through a show. Dark rum, you could put I guess you could put anything in a hot toddy at this point.
You could,
right?
I think honestly you could probably put vodka in it if you wanted to. I don't know that it would be any good, but you could try.
Ooh, that'd be weird.
It'd be weird, right? But
yeah, it's like putting vodka.
I don't do brown liquor, so I'd have to try it because I'd be like, oh, I don't do brown liquor, so.
Well, in this instance, it's Irish whiskey, so it's celebrating the other side of the heritage over here. But so I got a sore throat. So apparently, rest in peace, the cold. We have another coronavirus variant now to deal with, don't we? In the very, very creatively titled headlines segment. So you can't really now go anywhere without hearing about Omicron, which, of course, is the 7th ruler of Cybertron, if my math and Autobot history holds out. But yes, we have another variant, right? And this variant is enough that the World Health Organization, has now issued a very high risk to global health. I don't want to. We know what this is, right? You've been on the show long enough to know that we're dealing with an uncaring, survival-based virus. That its only job, its only purpose in life is to replicate and survive. And no matter what roadblocks we throw at it, it's going to try its damnedest to survive. And that's what's now called a variant. Interesting, some details about this. What makes this one more dangerous? If you've ever heard of the protein spike on the surface of the actual virus, the cell itself.
We talked about this at the very, very, very beginning of this when we were first learning what the virus even looked like under a hyper microscope.
Right. So I'm glad you brought that up. So under an electron microscope, what they found are multiple variations and mutations of the spike. Put rudimentarily, crudely, the spike is like it's like a real-time puzzle that your cell membrane, your healthy cell membrane, is always putting up these shields and these defenses, right? And the virus is trying to poke a hole, attach itself, and get in there. And the game is your cell, your healthy cell, can always change the force field, and for the most part, fend off the attack, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now there's folds in certain segments of what they call the ACE inhibitor or ACE molecule on the virus, the spike protein, that has now multiple folds, and they're not entirely sure. It could be 5 to 10 different little mutations that make this able to pierce the shielding of our healthy cells. And that's basically how the virus kind of latches on and then spreads. So we haven't seen this number of mutations on the spike up until this point. So the concern is that this is already displacing Delta as the dominant variant in many parts of the world. And speaking of it, it came from Botswana. It came from Malawi. Our news cycle and our understanding of the virus is at least 2 to 3 weeks behind where it actually is and where it's actually going.
Interesting. Okay.
Right. So, and it's largely because one of the things that we're going to talk about here is what we're trying to do now, right? Because here comes all the travel bans, which if you look at the U.S. travel ban list, there are a lot more countries on there than just Botswana and the other supposed origin countries.
South Africa is a big one.
Yeah, all but a bunch of other ones are now back on the same list that we used to get really angry with when Trump did it. But now Biden does it, and without it, I might be getting on a different soapbox here, but
it's worth pointing out. It is certainly worth pointing out.
But travel bans aren't as effective as you might think, because again, it's already there now, right? It's showing up, and I think now over almost a dozen countries, right? It's everywhere,
right? It's like calling the police like while you're watching a murder happen, but you wait until after the murder has already happened. And then you're like, hey, the police. Yeah, you wait 2 weeks, and then they're like, police, 2 weeks ago, I saw this murder happen. It's like, all right, but now we're like, we can't operate the same way. Like for me, it feels like at this point, we're living with this motherfucker for the rest of our lives, and the variants that spike off of it, there is no containing this anymore, and it just feels, and maybe it's just me being cynical, but it feels like we have lost any control that we have over this thing. Again, like you're saying, every reaction is too late. We're not looking to try to get ahead. We're just playing from behind the entire time. And you can't win playing from behind the whole game. You can't.
And that's exactly the point. And there are several key things that we kind of gave up on that were keeping us ahead of the game. And one of those things was mass testing everywhere, all the time, at least once a week to your workplace or school. Definitely the minute you step off an airplane, you need to find who's positive, and then you need to quarantine them. And if they need medical assistance, take them to that place. But that's how you really stop this. Find out who has it in real time, put them out of the game. And then the idea behind vaccines were like, that will help get us over the rest of the hump for the places that we can't immediately test, or it's not feasible, or for whatever reason, just to get the vaccines out to help out. And this is one of my gripes about this whole besides the poor messaging, especially in the beginning of the pandemic, is that we've pissed down our leg every opportunity to do this right.
Yep.
Every opportunity. We at first to really find out, like, okay, we need to shut everything down, essential only. Do we pay the appropriate people to do that feasibly? No. What happened? They had to go back to work.
And you on top of that, you let everybody just go on unemployment. All the non-essential people, you were just like, yeah, go ahead and file for unemployment. Like that wasn't going to be a clusterfuck.
With ramifications, like who knows? It would have been, and before other models were there that other countries were paying the corporations to pay their people.
Yes, it's called payroll backing. And it
payroll,
is.
Thank you.
It would have definitely been the right way to go about it, because another side effect of this thing, if you will, for lack of a better term, is that when you let all those people go on unemployment, right, and you said, all right, go home, collect unemployment. It allowed all of those people, while they were sitting at home, to go, well, do I really want to go back there? I maybe now have options, because now there's 20 million open jobs. And if I can just get to that job before the person that was in it before, that one that I think is better, I'll go for that better job, or I'll find something else than what I was doing before, right? And what the payroll backing would have allowed was to keep everyone on the payroll still. And people's thought process wouldn't have been to look elsewhere for a job. They would have said, okay, I'll just wait it out the month or 2 months that it would have taken for everybody to just stay home. You payroll back every business, and you by executive order, you freeze everyone's bills. Mortgage, rent, heat, electric, cell phone, everything just gets paused. Every corporation that you pay your bills to and every bank that you pay your bills to could certainly have afforded to just pause for 2 months and said, don't worry about your payments. It won't affect your credit. Just everybody go the fuck home. Unless you absolutely have to be out and you work at a grocery store, and you have to be there to keep people fed. Get the fuck home, stay home, watch TV. The Tiger King is on Netflix. It's awesome if you haven't seen it. You know what I mean?
That Jordan documentary, it wasn't ideal. All right. But that was one way without.
We had no leadership.
We also had no means of testing at that point, which was why these drastic measures needed to be taken. We had no way of really finding out. And anecdotally, one of the very first ways to determine if somebody had COVID was by a chest x-ray. Just a simple, everybody kind of, 78% of you come in through an ER, you're probably just going to get that one single chest x-ray. There's a lot of information we get from that. Sure. We could also see all of the scarring that was happening when people were COVID positive. And it was different. It looked different than a pneumonia or a pneumothorax, which is like a hole in one of the balloons in your lungs. So we didn't have a testing pattern or any method for diagnosing this. That's why shut it down.
Yeah.
We started rolling out some testing. We should have never have stopped, ever, until we're negative everywhere for a unreasonable amount of time, just to make sure. Should have never have stopped testing. Testing should have never have slowed down, should have always been ramping up until everybody's getting tested everywhere you go. And I don't mean multiple times a day.
Right.
But depending on what you do, at least daily.
Sure.
If you're a surgeon.
Yeah. I mean, there's certain, if you were one of those people that was working in an essential job who was still out there in the public, you should probably get tested on a daily basis. Yeah. I mean, I agree. But it all goes back to this deep rooted, I will not be told what to do attitude that is really embedded in a lot of American DNA, right? It goes back generations of people that are saying, I'm not going to be told what to do by the government. That's why this country, this social experiment called the United States of America, actually got started, because there are a bunch of people that were fed up with people telling them what to do. So when you're founded on that, when it comes time for everybody to have to get on the same fucking page, you're getting people that are like, that's when I'm not going to get tested every day. I'm not going to go through with that. I'm not going to wear a mask. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to get the vaccine. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to be told. Tyranny, Nazis, Hitler, Germany, all the buzzwords that you hear, from people that just don't want to be told what to do. They will not do it. It's like a child who won't do what they're told to do just to spite their parents, right? Like, just fuck you. I'm not going to do it because you're telling me to. Even though I know it's good for me, I'm not going to do it because you told me to. Fuck you.
It's like 2 points on that. And you can see that childlike reaction in, you don't have to stray too far into YouTube or any of the other socials to find out just what happens when and it's usually a man, but you can certainly find women are told you have to wear a mask on this airplane, and they start throwing shit all over the airport. And I forgot what the other point is.
Or in a
Anywhere.
restaurant. Yeah.
It's an immature, emotionally arrested reaction to what is basically, and this is my other point, I just remembered it, the common good, public health. This is and again, but we got told this was the China flu. We got told that it's going to go away like a miracle, which the same people that don't like to be told what to do, for some weird reason, cut this up in your own head as you can, love to be told how things are by a strong man who looks good on TV and sounds like he knows what he's talking about
himself. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Go figure that one out. Don't tell me what to do, but I'm going to listen to that guy because he's.
That's what's so fucking crazy about the whole Donald Trump thing is I get it. I'm gonna put all my eggs in one guy's basket because he looks like a true leader. It's Dwight Eisenhower, right? I'm gonna get behind Dwight Eisenhower, but it's Donald fucking Trump. The guy is a known snake oil salesman.
He's a successful businessman.
Decades. He has been a known liar for fucking decades. And these people are believing everything that he says. We're talking about a guy who led all these people to not believe Fauci about the masks because of his own vanity of he didn't want to be seen in public because he thought it would make him look less masculine to be wearing a mask in public. That's where all those people yelling at people at their fucking local PTA meeting, that's where it all started. This asshole didn't want to look fucking weak by wearing a fucking mask in public. If he had just been a goddamn leader, Brooks, if he had just been a fucking leader on this thing, he'd probably still be president, and we wouldn't be in this fuckhole that we are with this fucking virus, because he didn't take it seriously, and he led a whole shitload of people to not take it seriously. It's fucking frustrating.
He thought he was okay. So rule of poker and probably life, right? If you think you're the smartest person in the room, you're not.
Yes, it's always like if you can't figure out within 10 minutes who the fish is at the table, you're the fish. That's the poker saying.
Right. If you walk up to the poker table and think you're the shark, probably not. Like, that's just not the mindset of somebody who's deeply invested in something that they know and love and have been doing it for majority. We call those people experts, that they've dedicated their life to one thing. And in Fauci's case, it's infectious disease. He knows everything there probably is to know about this.
But Rand Paul says.
Did you see the clapback Fauci had today to your favorite Senator Ted Cruz?
I did not, but I heard about it. I heard that it happened. I didn't know that. I don't know the details of it.
Oh yeah, it was just Cruz popped off saying Fauci needed to face charges for lying to Congress about the virus or something like that.
About this whole fucking, what's it called? What are they? There's a focus. There's a word they talk about. It's a certain kind of experimentation that was done. Proof in something.
Proof in function.
Proof of function. Yes, that's this whole thing that Rand Paul and Ted Cruz, they are so desperate to find something to make Fauci the devil that they've hung everything on this proof of function bullshit that is such a dumb fucking smokescreen. If you look into it for 2 fucking seconds, you realize that the unlicensed optometrist that is Rand Paul has no fucking idea what he's talking about when it comes to viruses. And the man has the fucking gall on the floor of the Senate, because he's a senator, right? Yeah, on the floor of the Senate, to openly question a man who has served like 6 presidents, if not more, since 1984. He has been the head of virology in this fucking country. Like, he's been widely known for fucking 40 years at this goddamn point to be the most trusted person when it comes to viruses and epidemiology and vaccines. And Senator motherfucking Rand Paul, optometrist, is going to question him, and we're going to listen to Rand Paul, and we're going to share videos and say Rand Paul owned Fauci. Fuck you. You have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. Shut the fuck up.
Well, Fauci said, he asked, because I guess Cruz asked, why isn't Fauci testifying in front of Congress? And Fauci asked, Senator, what happened on January 6th?
Right.
Like, it just, okay. So I actually want to, Mr. Hansen, you bring up an interesting point, and I don't know where your loyalties or thoughts lie on the situation, but I don't think that Fauci sucks. And I don't know that. And please, let's continue the conversation, because I'd like to know, like, why you would think, if you're asserting that Fauci sucks at the one thing that he's trained all in his life to do, because the evidence proves otherwise, if that's the assertion you're making.
Yeah, and generally the arguments that you get into when you get into this and you ask someone what it is about Fauci that they think is untrustworthy, they bring up masks. That's the first thing. Well, back at the beginning, he said masks weren't necessary, and then he said that they were necessary, so he clearly doesn't know what he's talking about, which is obviously easily shot down with the fact that science, especially viral science, even more especially novel virus science, is always changing. You don't know at the beginning for sure, but you make the best suggestion based on previous viruses that were somewhat similar, how they were transmitted, what helped, what didn't help, what was necessary, what wasn't necessary. That information is always changing. What would be more worrisome is if he said at the beginning, no masks, and then when the rest of the medical community decided masks were necessary, for him to say, nope, I'm doubling down. No masks, motherfuckers. I said no masks. I'm fucking Dr. Fauci. That's where it would get unreasonable and you'd have to question the man. But when you're changing your mind, when you get presented with new evidence, that's science, guys. I don't know how else to explain that to you.
It's well, okay. So you're watching a live science experiment, and for real, it's happening in real time. You're watching science happen. Unfortunately, it's not like Bones or CSI, where in 1 hour they got the whole thing figured out, guys. They got the latest gear in there. They're doing samples. They're running things through a computer. They're looking at corpses and pictures. No. It takes, and I know everybody, most people listening to the show probably are aware of this, but it takes time. It's trial and error. The unpredictable, unknown entity goes this way. So the thought pattern goes that way. And all of a sudden, it's Tuesday. So the unknown, unpredictable entity goes this way. And we're still going this way.
Right.
That's just how it works.
Yeah.
We're not moving at the speed of a virus. We could not. The way it replicates on a cellular level, we no,
Right.
it doesn't work like that. We don't work like that. But if we gave more funding and maybe more seriousness to the ideas of science and more training and maybe education more available, maybe we could shorten the lifespan of this terrible disease. But in the meantime, I want my freedom.
Right. I want to go to the store without a mask on. I want to be able, I don't want to get that vaccine. It's just, there are no good arguments on the other side at this point. They've all been debunked, but these people will still dig their heels in. And unfortunately, it's going to lead to continued variations like this, that we're going, like, I truly believe we're going to be living with this for the rest of our lives, at least.
Or until a variant comes around that's strong enough that it really does some damage. And again, we don't really know the full long-term ramifications of this thing. We're just beginning to understand what we loosely term as long COVID, whatever the hell that means, because it's as crazy and a science fiction-y story as you'll get, as you could probably make up. Wait, that one virus that kind of acted like it was just a chest thing turned into kidney failure,
right?
Turned to I had to amputate heart disease. We had to amputate limbs and toes because of it. Like, new stuff. Because the game changes.
The first variant has killed 700,000 plus people and counting, right? And the virus variants don't get less, right? They don't get less dangerous. Right, because they're mutating because they're trying to survive.
Well, okay, random chance now. So you're talking about a virus that is clearly global, replicating at that speed on a global level. You're seeing that's why you have multiple variants. Some of them are dying out like you wouldn't believe. They're not making it. The attempt at survival didn't work in that particular strain's favor. Right? Roll the dice, roll the bones.
Right. Mm-hmm.
The ones that do are the ones that like survive that type of like mortal combat with whatever environment they were fighting against, right? And they emerge stronger because of it. And that's the problem. It learned. It's like a learning robot, which I've got a story about this later. It's like a learning robot that learns how to survive and says more. Again, that's the only thing it wants to do is just live. If you could understand it from that perspective, this thing is not. Again, I don't know what people think when they think of like a virus. Do they think like floaty things in the air, or do they think something invisible that's not there? I don't know. I don't know where we are with this whole thing. What is the general mom and pop? What is that guy, Chris, that repaired your garage? What does he think? What does a virus look like? What is a virus, sir?
Does he have any idea? Probably not.
I didn't need to know that to get through to where I am in life. Cool. Right on. And while I would never question your ability to repair a garage door, sir, maybe, just maybe, don't question a virologist's ability to judge a virus and determine what's best for the public in terms of health.
Because, and the only reason you don't believe him, ultimately, if we want to drill down and really get to it, is again because you decided to hitch your wagon to Donald Trump, and Donald Trump told you Dr. Fauci couldn't be trusted. Right? Like, that's what it comes out. Again, it goes back to Trump wasn't a leader. He didn't go, this is my guy, right? This is the guy that's been working for every president before me in my lifetime, basically. He could have said, this is my guy. We're going to listen to him. We're going to do what he says. Instead, it was a daily fight in public of Fauci giving advice based on his information and his history and his knowledge, and then Trump going out and directly contradicting and arguing everything he said.
Besides not trusting the experts, right? Chris had a comment. No, Ryan, Mr. Hansen. Yes. Yeah, okay. I just wanted to circle back and make sure everybody understood Mr. Hansen is on point with what he was saying. And he actually mentioned the politicalization of yeah, I know, right? Especially, I don't know what else she put in this hot toddy, but I'm ready to go right now.
I got you all fired up too.
You did. Politicizing science doesn't work because again, it's not that type of arena. Like the discussions that go on are very dry and boring. We've read scientific studies, the actual like reports that scientists write, and it's horrifying to read those. It's sleep-inducing, somniferous. It is expert level material. So how could a novice walk into a situation and be like, I understand all of this? I'm like right-clicking and Google searching every third word.
Right.
And I want to get through it.
Because you're trusting Donald Trump to give you the information that you need. I just said those words together in a sentence, and it was real life.
For a lot of people.
To America.
Too many people. A lot of people that I would care to forget. Unfortunately, Ben, I drink coffee. And apparently I'll never, ever, ever be able to forget anything because coffee could lower the risk of Alzheimer's disease.
Really?
Yes.
That's good for me because I drink a fuck ton of coffee.
Yes. A long-term study has revealed drinking higher amounts of coffee may have health benefits later in life. Good news for those of us who can't face a day without their morning flat white.
Nope.
Yeah, no. All right. Well, truth be told, I just drink black coffee.
I put a little bit of creamer in it, maybe, but I'll usually drink black.
So, all right. I don't know what a flat white is. So let's just a morning cup of Joe. A long-term study has revealed drinking higher amounts of caffeine in coffee may make you less likely to develop Alzheimer's disease. As part of the Australian Imaging and Biomarkers Lifestyle Study of Aging, wow. Researchers from Edith Cowan University investigated whether coffee intake affected the rate of cognitive decline in more than 200 Australians over a decade. Lead investigator said results showed an association between coffee and several important markers related to Alzheimer's disease. This is a quote. We found participants with no memory impairments and with higher coffee consumption at the start of the study had lower risk of transitioning to a mild cognitive impairment, which often precedes Alzheimer's disease, or developing Alzheimer's disease over the course of the study, she said. Drinking more coffee gave positive results in relation to certain domains of cognitive function, especially executive function, which includes planning, self-control, and attention.
Well, that's bad news for Adrian because I drink a shitload of coffee and she was probably hoping that I would eventually get Alzheimer's. And that's not going to happen now. So sorry.
Well, we all can't get what we want. I think that's a Scorpions song. Anyway.
Decaf coffee? Like, I can't even believe decaf coffee is a thing.
Yeah, no.
What even is that? Who's doing that?
Weirdos. Just don't drink.
Have you ever seen what it takes to decaffeinate coffee? What you have to do to coffee beans to decaffeinate them?
No.
I believe they soak them in like formaldehyde or something really crazy. Hold on, I gotta look it up now because it's disgusting what they do.
Oh my God, seriously? Just don't drink it.
How do you make
Drink tea or something.
decaf coffee?
For real.
It's fucking crazy.
Oh, really? I had no idea.
Yes.
I mean, I don't.
The most common methods of decaffeination involve chemical solvents, usually ethyl acetate or methylene chloride. In a direct method, the coffee beans are steamed and then rinsed repeatedly with the chemical solvent to flush away the caffeine. Yeah. So there you go. So it's insane. It's disgusting that you would even drink decaffeinated coffee because of what they have to do to it. Who knows what you're really drinking when you're drinking?
Wow. But I don't want that vaccine. But here they're flat out telling you what they're doing to get you that cup of decaf. And you're like,
Formaldehyde. Yeah.
Make mine Dunkin'.
Formaldehyde, yeah.
Fantastic. Well, make mine a volcano. Because apparently, thanks to a story sent to us by, I think this one was...
this was Ryan Hansen, I believe.
Mr. Ryan Hansen sent us this one. Check this. This is a 2021 headline if I've ever seen one in my life. New volcanoes could emerge anywhere in the U.S. Southwest, study says.
Hey-o!
Hello. Dead volcanoes seen throughout the southwestern United States are evidence of volcano fields that could wipe out infrastructure and disrupt air travel if new volcanoes erupt, a study says. Researchers say this could happen at any time. Over the past 2.58 million years, so this is a long study, known as the Quaternary geologic period, some 1,800 volcanoes pockmarked the region straddling Arizona, parts of California, Colorado, Nevada, New Mexico, and Utah. If the Penacate volcano field in the Mexican state of Sonora is included, the number rises from 1,800 to 2,200, and some of these volcanoes emerged as recently as 1,000 years ago. Volcanoes are known as monogenetic, meaning one life. So a monogenetic volcano will erupt once, and that eruption may last several days to several decades.
Oh.
But after that, after that decade of hot volcanic action, the volcano is basically dead. So,
okay. Well, that's good.
Well, I think there was one thing in here that I thought was like, oh, really? This is what you okay. So if you didn't know, the United States, the center of the United States, like Yellowstone National Park, all the cool geysers and stuff, that is like the center of like a ginormous caldera, like literally a super volcano.
Holy shit. Okay.
Oh yeah, this is legit. This is not a Graham Hancock like 78% true kind of deal. Like yes,
Wow.
oh yeah, so that kind of the volcanic activity you get all over the United States, like so you get a lot of earthquakes in like lower Illinois, southern Illinois, like eastern Missouri and stuff like that. It's because it's not geologically stable. So there's some rumbling underneath the United States there, and yeah, I could imagine just volcanoes popping up out of nowhere.
Right, and you're just in New Mexico somewhere, and this fucking hill becomes a volcano.
Exactly, and that's exactly what it is, or just mountaintop blows and just poof, there it is for a decade. Like, okay. All right.
Adrian, who's lived her whole life in the Southwest, obviously, she says this is one of my worst fears. She had a panic attack about it when she was 9 because of the damn volcano.
Really? Volcanoes?
Mm-hmm. Weird. Right?
Okay. All right. Hey, everybody's got their thing. Like I have a fear of sharks that can engage on dry land. So like their fears are weird, right?
Interesting.
I found an interesting story on IFL Science that we like to.
Love those guys.
We love those guys here, and this one's interesting because it deals with the Pleiades, right? And gets into some astronomy and even a little bit of astrology, Greek and Australian Aboriginal myth. And what would all of those things have in common? a story of 7 sisters. Now, if you look, if you scroll all the way down, I'm not going to drown everybody out here with all the gory details, all the way down to keep going. That's the constellations. Keep going. That gets explained a little bit here. Here we go. So this are 2 stars in the Pleiades, right? Pleione and Atlas, right? So 2 stars that 100,000 years ago looked like that, looked like 2 distinct objects in the night sky. And that's what they look like today. Why is that happening? Well, stars are moving. We're moving in the night sky. There's like all kinds of mechanisms in the galaxy and in our solar system. Like we're moving around the sun. The sun's moving around a certain thing in our spot of the galaxy. We're revolving around the galaxy, and the galaxy itself is revolving around something bigger. It's all moving like clockwork, right? So 100,000 years ago, it looked like there were 7 stars in the Pleiades. And as we like to do, we assign stories to these things, especially when we don't understand them. Enter the story of the Titan Atlas in Greek mythology. Atlas had 7 daughters. And after having 7 daughters, Atlas was tasked with holding the world up. Atlas is the guy that's always holding the world up, right? Mm-hmm. And to save his daughters from what was apparently imminent rape by Orion, Zeus, the good guy that he was, turned the 7 daughters of Atlas into stars. Why he didn't just zap Orion into bloody misery, Zeus was unavailable for comment.
And it's all basically made up. Whatever.
But it's an interesting link, and I don't know it's a terrible thing, but I want to keep the rape idea together here, right? Because enter the story of the Central Australian Aboriginal cultures. The Pleiades are a group of young girls often associated with sacred women's ceremonies and stories. They're also, I lost my spot again, but they're also subject to the lost sister, right? So one of the stars is going away, and they've noticed this. And they think that in the Aboriginal myth, that the sister was either hiding, running away, or died because she was raped by some evil spirit or another constellation in their history. All to explain. Terrible, right? Terrible stories, right?
Yeah.
But what are they trying to explain?
Probably some dumb shit like a woman's period or something.
No, that they know a star is moving out of view.
Oh.
This is 100,000 years ago. We're talking when that star looked like 2 different things.
Uh-huh.
We've been telling this story about 7 sisters for over 100,000 years.
All with this idea that these 2 stars would eventually become 1 star
in the night sky. And to explain that they saw that they were moving. They saw it. This is why we have to pay attention to what these people were trying to tell us. Not the crazy stories of spirits in the sky, the big archer trying to rape the children of Atlas. No, what were they trying to tell us? They saw that the 7th sister was going away. And they tried to explain it because they didn't know what it was. It was just a little, light in the sky.
You think they could have done a better job, right? Because it still seems kind of vague, right? Like, if you don't really know exactly what they're talking about, you can kind of get lost in it, and it sounds like a bunch of mumbo jumbo, right? And you can kind of just be like, you just start drowning it out because it just sounds so fucking ridiculous. But again, I suppose also those people weren't as intelligent, and they were trying to explain what they were seeing, and they were using the best method they could, which is to put it into a story that was easy to tell the next generation, because again, writing, I guess at that point wasn't a big thing. History was passed down orally.
Right? So they had to be children's stories, and they had to be easily understood for children because you started telling them as soon as they could understand your language or carvings or drawings, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Had to make them simple, right? That's why it's not like we understand that to be a ginormous condensed ball of gas in the universe floating. It's about what we will call 13 parsecs away. You will call them light years. No, but they had to distill it down to the simplest, most digestible form, right? Children's stories about explaining the things in the sky that we connect dots to. Well, that's Orion and that's Taurus and here's Aries. That's why. And again, we have to listen to these stories with a different, under a different light, right? They're trying to tell
the
us something
deeper
different.
meaning, right? There's the surface, right? But then just below the surface is really what they're trying to tell you, and it is hard to get past the surface sometimes.
Right, and it's. Do you know what the song "Ring Around the Posy" is all about?
No idea.
Ring around the posy, ashes full of ashes, ashes. We all fall down. Right. It was about the burning bodies of the plague.
Disgusting. Okay.
Yeah, they were literally burning bodies in the street because of the Black Plague, and that's how you got Ring Around the Rosy, pockets full of posy because they put posies in the pockets of dead people back then. Ashes, ashes. We all fall down.
And what's the point? Like what?
But now that you know, okay, what did we do? Everybody played Ring Around the Rosy.
Right.
Did you know?
Nobody knew. So like they did
But
that.
now you do.
Yeah, I guess as we get older, we now figure it out. I suppose.
Now, and in COVID terms, how much more important is that now? Look at this weird public health scenario that happened. And that was like when they we owe modern plumbing to the plague, right? Because that's how they were combining the drinking water with the sewage water and being like, what could go wrong? And it got to the
they
rats.
learned the hard way. It's like the first people that ate different kinds of mushrooms. Some died, some tripped their balls off. Somebody had to do it though.
Yeah. So many times these what seem to be innocuous fairy tales and stories and songs that we're all taught and sing around the campfire or wherever have a deeper meaning that are trying to tell us something. And we reached out for comment from our ancestors, and all they could do is go,
yeah,
true story. I promised you a story about living robots.
Yeah.
So
the sex robot guy that we talk about all the time from Austria or wherever the fuck he's from, if he ever finds out about this, Katie bar the fucking door.
Yeah, this is good and bad. So again, this is from CNN. So take it what you will from that dumpster fire of a news organization. But the world's first living robots can now reproduce.
Shut up.
Scientists say, if we're not heralding in one form of doom, we're most certainly trying in another. U.S. scientists have created, it's jumping around because these stupid ads, because CNN needs more money. U.S. scientists have created the first living robots, say the life forms known as xenobots can now reproduce, and in a way not seen in plants and animals.
This is how we have movies about this.
Right? Ooh. Sorry, I got a little rough in the throat right now.
No, I'm going to kind of take this in because this is
formed from the stem cells of the African clawed frog.
Oh, Jesus.
The xenobots are less than a millimeter. The tiny blobs were first unveiled in 2020 after experiments showed that they could move, work together in groups, and self-heal.
Oh, Jesus. So they're not only that, they're basically the Wolverine.
Now the scientists that developed them at the University of Vermont have discovered an entirely new form of biological reproduction different from any animal plant known to scientists. I was astounded by it. Michael Levin, professor. Yeah, right. When you see when a
scientists to be astounded by what's do it.
And this guy, professor of biology at Tufts University, which very prestigious. Frogs have a way of reproducing that they normally use, but when you liberate the cells from the rest of the embryo and give them a chance to figure out how to be in a new environment, not only do they figure out a new way to move, but they also figure out a new way to reproduce.
Jesus Christ.
So they're not exactly robots. There's a classification of robots. They get that. That's a little semantic right there. However, I thought I'm going to click the story about reproducing robots and have a good time. And in fact, then I was horrified that they discovered a new organism that they basically created in a lab that has found a new way to produce that they're astounded by.
I don't want scientists astounded by anything that they've created in a lab. Jesus Christ.
I want scientists to do their thing, but I also want to make sure that we've got some common sense folk around to go, hey, listen, Chuck.
Right.
Bad idea.
Right. Like Vince Russo had some great ideas, but he needed Vince McMahon to go no on some of those ideas, right? Like the scientists need their Vince McMahon.
Excuse me.
Cyberdyne technology.
It is one closer step to eventually, right? That's how this is going to kick off, right? That's going to be the frog, the African horned frog masters that we're going to have to deal with as they kind of slowly figure out how to integrate technology into their form. And yeah, I mean, all hail the frog people, the hypnotoads.
Jesus Christ, we're all fucking gonna die from these fucking toad robots.
So before the storm gets here and everything starts to get all drizzly, I want to talk about a story of a man who's freed from prison after 43 years, having been falsely convicted in a triple killing. So again, let me restate. Innocent man, wrongly convicted, spends the balance of his life, 43 years in prison, gets released because they go, oh, we made a mistake. Sorry. And thanks to a really neat Missouri law, the man has no way to get any recompense for time served.
No shit.
So what happens, right? The people have to pick up the baton, right? So headline from WTTW. I believe this is actually from St. Louis. So have at that, Gigi. More than $1.4 million has been raised as of Saturday for a man who spent 43 years behind bars before a judge overturned his conviction in a triple killing. The Midwest Innocence Project set up the GoFundMe fundraiser as they fought for Kevin Strickland's release, noting he wouldn't receive any compensation from Missouri and would need help paying for basic living expenses. The state, check this shit out. The state, Missouri. Let me make sure we make this very clear. The state of Missouri. And just to quote Grandpa Simpson, I'll be cold and dead in my grave before I recognize Missouri. Terrible Grandpa Simpson, but you get the point here. The state, Missouri, the state of Missouri only allows wrongful imprisonment payments to people who are exonerated through DNA evidence. So the 62-year-old Strickland would not qualify.
How in the fuck does that make any sense? What even is that? Why would you limit it? If anyone was wrongfully convicted of a crime for any fucking reason, why? I just don't understand. I would love to have gone back and find out like the arguments for only limiting it. Okay, guys, we got to repay these people, but only the ones that don't get overturned on DNA evidence. The people that just, other evidence that exonerates people, that we're not going to pay people for, because why? I don't get it. I would love to find out why.
Judge James Welsh, a retired Missouri Court of Appeals judge, ordered his release on Tuesday, finding the evidence used to convict Strickland had since been recanted or disproven.
Jesus.
By Saturday evening, more than $1.45 million had been donated to help Mr. Strickland.
That's at least a positive part of this story.
He was jailed when he was 18 years old.
Fuck me. Dude,
and you can't do any the recanted or disproven.
You can't pay those people?
You can't you can't
There's
get
no restitution for them?
none. 43 years. What's he gonna do? He's 62 years old.
No one's
Dude,
no one's gonna hire him.
You have no. All you know is all you know is prison life.
Right.
You have
How are you
no
gonna
idea how
assimilate back into regular life.
you took everything from the guy and you leave him with nothing and just did a
Sorry,
bro. Our bad.
Fuck, man. Our bad. Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude,
our bad.
honestly, like law and law enforcement and the justice system pre 1990, all of it has to be called into question. Everything, the basis on why people were arrested or weren't arrested, or why someone is given something and not given something, all of it when it comes to law enforcement, anything pre 1990 is a fucking crapshoot if it actually happened or not. And there are probably so many people that are in prison like this guy that they know in their heart that they're not guilty. They did not commit these crimes. I mean, how many documentaries do we have to have of people that are wrongful? It certainly appears are wrongfully convicted, and there's these huge movements trying to get these people out of prison. Those are just the ones that made it to your television that someone cared enough to make a documentary about. How many more people are in prison that shouldn't be in prison from shit that happened before law enforcement and criminal justice was in the, that had the technology necessary in order to properly, stop crime and that sort of thing.
Well, I mean, this is obviously going on probably a lot longer than even this country has been around. But like, for fuck's sake, man, like Dylan wrote a song about this. Like the hurricane, like Hurricane Johnson, I think his name was. When they pegged him for,
Denzel Washington played him in a goddamn movie.
Right. So it's not like this is new. And maybe the feigning shock over this is probably our bad, and maybe not doing something about it more proactively and supporting organizations that help free Mr. Strickland as much as we should. And again, not a day goes by that we, as just generally, I think, human beings probably shouldn't just stop and check ourselves every once in a while and just go, all right, kind of bring it back in, kind of get centered a little bit and take a look around. I think everybody here in the chat system agrees, like the system's broken and in many facets. And it doesn't necessarily mean like the country's for shit and the ideas are bad. It's just things are broken. We can fix it. We're good at that, actually.
Right. And it goes, we didn't really talk about it in the headlines this week, but the verdict in the Ahmaud Arbery case came out, and there were a lot of people that were like, yeah, justice is served. And you had to be reminded that it took 74 days. The cops didn't want to charge those guys. The district attorney refused to bring charges against them.
And she's now under arrest and facing what was probably a certain conviction.
Yes. It took the video, one of the lawyers releasing video to the public, and then it took multiple protests for charges to eventually be brought against those three men who, when were brought before a jury of their peers and evidence was presented, were convicted of murder.
Multiple counts.
They did. So the justice wasn't served. If justice was served, those three motherfuckers never would have followed Ahmaud Arbery that day.
Because they know they would have been held responsible for it.
Correct.
And they were banking on a system designed and
protect white men from getting convicted of crimes that other people of other ethnicities would not be so easily, and those guys probably looked at Rittenhouse the week before and went, I feel good about my chances.
They were like, yes,
I feel good about my chances. Then that one guy got on the fucking stand and blew it for all of them.
Mm-hmm.
When he said, when he basically says, we weren't threatened at the time we started following him. He didn't even come at us until I had already shot him twice. at that point, it's really hard to claim self-defense when you admit that you were not in any danger when you started following him, and you were not in any danger until after you had already shot him twice, that you didn't feel like he was coming at you in any way aggressive. Yeah, he had already been shot twice with a shotgun at that point.
I almost did a story about Ghislaine Maxwell and her trial that's starting here. I don't know, man.
I think we'll get into it as details start coming out. I think there's a lot of people. You heard a lot of people like, why aren't we heard all? Kyle Rittenhouse got all the coverage, but no one is talking about Ghislaine Maxwell. And what those dumb assholes on your fucking social media didn't realize is that the trial hadn't even really started yet. The trial, for all intents and purposes, started today. So we'll find out how much media coverage. Because when I woke up this morning, my wife was watching CBS News, and guess what? One of the top stories was this: Ghislaine Maxwell's trial starts today. So I think everyone that wants to hear all the gory details of a pedophilia ring, and I don't know why we're all that interested in hearing the gory details of a pedophilia ring, but people are really interested in hearing the gory details of a pedophilia ring, and so they'll get that.
They want to know who's on the list, right? And because each side's hoping for a bunch of names on the other side, right? And not going again, wait, it's a pedophilia ring. What's the larger picture here? What do all these people have in common? Money, power. Like, oh, okay, well, now we're starting.
Right, now what the political beliefs were, where were they at class-wise?
Yeah. No, and I thought it was interesting that the first witness called to the stand was the personal pilot.
Oh, I'll bet. I bet that guy has seen some shit.
Mm-hmm.
Prince Andrew is not going to like how this trial goes.
Neither is Bill Clinton.
Neither is Bill Clinton. I think there's a lot, and I think there might even be some Donald Trump. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people on both sides of this deal that are. Kevin Spacey's not going to like what comes out of this thing. I think a lot of people are very worried about the next few weeks and what exactly is going to be said in court. And I think Ghislaine knows better and is just going to keep her fucking mouth shut. And they're just going to, say, we don't know anything about it, and hope to as little gets out as possible. And she'll take her punishment. She'll go to prison and she'll spend the rest of her life there, because the people you don't get involved in this thing if it hasn't already been discussed that, okay, if this thing falls apart, you're taking the fall. Here's what's happening. Here's how this is going to go. You're going to shut up. You're going to go to prison, and we'll pay to keep your life decent in prison. And we'll use our influence to make sure that your life is okay in prison. But you're going to be the one that takes the fall for this, because the shit ain't coming out about me. I think conversations were had. That's why I know you and I kind of disagree on this. I think Jeffrey Epstein definitely 100% killed himself. That was part of the deal. Like, you understand, you get caught, you take the cyanide pill. I think that was kind of like a wink and a nod. It was like an understood thing that you get arrested and you don't get to talk because you don't get to breathe.
Yeah, I think honestly that he was willing to flip, and I think he was because he seems like that slimy enough guy that he was willing to work
enough. Yep,
and that's why I think they got him. I personally think he was murdered, but it's okay to disagree, right?
Yeah.
It's
I think there is certainly compelling arguments on both sides. That's why it is fun to discuss something like that, because you can have valid arguments on both sides, and I think there's probably the truth is probably somewhere in the middle, like in a way. There's probably a little bit of like I think it's very possible that there's a little bit of both stories, right? You're not going to talk. We know you're weak. So if you get caught, you will either kill yourself or we will kill you. And it was
there's
like
a date, like you have 56 hours from the minute they put you in that cell to do this your way.
Right. Go out on your terms or you go out on our terms. I think that was, Adrian says she doesn't think she'll live through the trial. You think she might commit suicide as well? There might be coming to a point where she feels like it's all crashing in on her. She doesn't want to go to prison.
She's being watched like a hawk right now.
True that, though. Yeah.
They're giving her oatmeal in like a cellophane bowl to eat with her fingers. Like, there's no chance of doing anything. There are no sheets. There are no springs in the mat. You're sleeping on concrete.
Awful existence that is in itself, right? Like, imagine how miserable her life must already be if she doesn't have shoelaces, nothing. Like, there's
nothing. You're barefoot. There's nothing like
Yeah.
there's no metal around.
You shave your legs. You know what I mean. There's no razor to shave your legs. You're fucked.
Your watch. There's just two people just standing outside the door. Not even cameras. Two people just.
And I guarantee you this, guys, if you're watching this show in the coming weeks, if real news breaks and big names come out, we will be talking about it. I guarantee you it'll be part of the headlines. We won't be hiding this story. If there is some stuff to talk about, I guarantee you we'll talk about it.
Absolutely. And if Obama's in it, great. If Bush is in it, great. We're
all of them. I don't care who it is. Again,
yeah.
Tiger Woods is involved. I don't give a shit.
Topic Thunder doesn't care.
Right. We'll burn them all down.
We're all about the truth. And there's only one force in nature that can bring the truth. And that, folks, is lightning. That really hurt. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the lightning round. You're in the Thunderdome where 3 stories enter, 1 story leaves. And I know in just a moment, I'm starting to see them trickle in right now. Here come the lightning bolts. And it's just such a cool thing. It's very organic. And, you know, right here. Hey, does anybody see the Christmas tree back there?
Yes.
How about that? Huh? All right, folks. You know the deal. I read 3 headlines. We vote. We read the winner. Headline number 1. Pharmacist arrested for selling whale vomit worth over $2 million.
It's going to take a fucking hell of a headline to beat that one.
And the Toronto News says, hold my beer. Headline number 2. Walmart pulls children's toy that swears and sings in Polish about doing cocaine. And headline number 3. Woman runs over husband as he tries to dislodge bowling ball from car. Let's do that again, huh? As you're all kind of letting that kind of enter the calculus in there in the algorithm. Headline number 1. Pharmacist arrested for selling whale vomit worth over $2 million. Headline number 2. Walmart pulls children's toy that swears and sings in Polish about doing cocaine.
That's amazing.
And headline number 3. Woman runs over husband as he tries to dislodge a bowling ball from the car.
Wow. Story number 2 already has a vote. Gigi going with the Walmart toy. That's a good one, man. To me, it's between whale vomit and the Walmart toy. To me, the Walmart toy story is interesting because how the hell did it make it all the way to shelves before someone realized that it was swearing and talking about cocaine?
Well, not a lot of people actually speak Polish these days, so
See that. I suppose, but still, you'd think someone along the way would have been like, "Hey guys, no, Walmart going 4 right
away with it.
Right out.
Get your votes in. Get your votes in one more time. Headline number 1. Pharmacist arrested for selling whale vomit worth over $2 million. Headline number 2. Walmart pulls children's toy that swears and sings in Polish about doing cocaine. And headline number 3. Woman runs over husband as he tries to dislodge bowling ball from car.
Yeah,
steady 5.
2 is running away with this. At this point, I don't think there's enough votes out there for Polish blow Disney princess. Yes, puke by the kilo, tickle my nose Elmo. Ryan Hansen always knows how to headline the headlines. It's great.
That's good stuff, Mr. Hansen. Welcome.
Yes, but it is a runaway at this point. Story number 2. Let's hear about the Polish swearing cocaine toy.
Headline Toronto. Hello. An Ontario grandmother who bought an educational toy for her 15-month-old granddaughter was shocked when the dancing cactus started swearing and singing about doing cocaine. Quote, this toy uses swear words and talking about cocaine use, says Ania Tanner, as she told CTV News Toronto. This is not what I ordered for my granddaughter. The cactus was sold at Walmart's website as an educational toy for about $26 and sings songs in English, Spanish, and Polish. But Tanner, who is Polish, said when listening to the Polish lyrics, that Cactus was singing about doing cocaine, drug abuse, suicide, depression, and use profanities. It just so happens that I am Polish. And when I started listening to the songs and I heard the words, I was shocked. I thought, is this some kind of joke?
I have video of this Cactus when you're ready. Or
the song is by Polish rapper Cypress, who was reportedly unaware his song was used by the Chinese manufacturer of the children's toy. It's a song about taking 5 grams of cocaine and being very alone. It's a very depressing song, Tanner said. The video, please.
Video, check this out. I don't know what this is. I just happen to see one.
Kaktus z Tajwanu.
Tylko jedno w głowie mam, koksu 5 gram, odlecieć sam w krainę zapomnienia. W głowie myśli mam, kiedy skończy się ten stan, gdy już nie będę sam, bo wiedzie biały ben. Tylko jedno w głowie mam, koksu 5 gram, odlecieć sam w krainę zapomnienia. W głowie myśli mam, kiedy skończy się ten stan, gdy już nie będę sam.
I'm gonna go. I'm literally opening up my Amazon account right now, in real time. But that's one hell of a story right there, and that's one hell of a singing Cactus. I tip my hat to the people that were able to slide that one in. Again, probably not a lot of Polish-speaking QA people at the Chinese manufacturer.
Unfortunately not. This one slipped through the cracks.
As things tend to do, but not on this show. We pride ourselves on kind of connecting those dots and finding those stories and bringing them into light. And we hope you enjoyed the ride. So again, folks, thanks for listening. Thanks for participating. It's always a pleasure and an honor. You've been watching Topic Thunder, and we're available on YouTube, on Twitch, on the Facebook, although we got to get off of Facebook, period. But yeah, that's a different story for a different time. And of course, the Instagram page, which does really odd things at odd times. So the Topic Thunder podcast, just go search those things out. Ben, I saw that you had a back when in wrestling.
Now and then, yes. Now and then wrestling podcast every Sunday. Generally speaking, every Sunday afternoon. If you're a wrestling fan, join us. It's fun.
And join us as a trailer park episode is still rumored to be in the offing too. So join us for that. You've been watching Topic Thunder on the Topic Thunder Network, podcast network, something like that. Rapapa. Good night, everybody.
Question mark?
Woo.
Later.